All aboard the podcast train. We're at it again. How you doing, BK Broiler?
I am doing fantastic, Lars. It was a nice weekend here in Toronto.
Yes, and by nice you mean absolutely freaking beautiful. It was just sunshine, and beauty. Look at I'm here in sunny Scarborough Bluffs right here, as you can see.
My home.
I love long strolls on the Scarborough Bluffy beach. I'm going to go for a brief stroll. I'll be right back.
Of course. Please enjoy. Oh, something's stopping you.
I'm like a video game when someone did like a video game character when they reach the end of the board. Where I'm just Yes. It is lovely, and you had a significant occurrence on the weekend, did you?
I did. I got my shot.
What a weird world that we talk about this stuff. I want to go back to the world where people just take care of their own health issues, and it's not every day on the news, and everyone's not like bragging about what brand they got stuck with.
This is a new world, Lars. You gotta get on the train or move out.
Yeah, I know. There's no going back. Congratulations, though. Which one did you get?
I got Pfizer.
Nice. The Cadillac of...
That's what they say.
Mine's already been recalled. I got AstraZeneca 3 weeks ago, and then like the week after I did it, they were like, we're not giving that to any more Canadians on account of... I think there was side effects that just dipped over 1 in 100,000 or 1 in 1 million, whatever their level of safety is, where they're allowed to give it to people.
Okay. Well, my parents got that one, so
right.
I hope it doesn't do that.
Well, you're trading one tiny risk for a slightly tiny or less tiny risk. It's like the slight risk of a reaction for the more likely risk of contracting COVID, I guess. I think that's the idea, right? I'm no medical magician or anything, but
oh please, with that hat on.
So the good thing for me though is I get to have my second dose gets to be a different vaccine. It won't be AstraZeneca. It'll be Pfizer or Moderna. So I do have that 7-Eleven swamp water cocktail coming my way. So I'm gonna get the best. I'm gonna get the best of both worlds, and I'm gonna be some kind of weird hybrid.
What are you hoping it's gonna be out of the two? Like. I know it doesn't really matter, but like, if you had to choose, which one would you prefer?
I think Pfizer. I'm going to say Pfizer just because I think it's a cooler name. AstraZeneca has a Z in it, and so does Pfizer. So Pfizer-Zeneca.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to name my first son my firstborn. Pfizer-Zeneca. Yes.
Pfizer-Zeneca Classic 10. Get over here.
Pfizer. Get over here, Pfizer. Go find your sister, Moderna. Right. Yeah. Well, congratulations. You got your vax. I got my vax. Yeah. So we're all, it's all smooth sailing from here. I think Toronto is going to be looking good for the summer here, hopefully, at some point.
The sooner we get 75% people vaccinated, the better. And
until then, I'll be out here on the beautiful bluffs of Scarborough.
There you go.
Which pre-show, I don't know, sorry to throw you under the bus here. But I'm going to do it pre-show. You said to me, I don't even know why they call it bluffs. In my head, I think of bluffs as, and then you went ahead and you described wheat fields.
And that's like, what they sound like. I don't know.
Maybe you just don't know the definition of bluffs.
Apparently I don't, because it apparently means rock.
I like that, though.
It meant beach. I don't know.
I like that, though. I understand where you're coming from, where sometimes you just hear something or you've heard it used and you don't look it up and you just have an imaginary picture or belief of what that thing sounds like. And then you just stick with it for your whole life.
I just want to say, because when I hear bluff, it sounds like you're seeing through something that's fairly difficult to see through. So I imagine like big seaweed underwater and like the seaweed fields where it's all like waving around, or like wheat fields where it's huge, tall wheat trees or wheat bushes.
So you took the other definition of bluff, like poker bluff, where you're like faking or you're having to see through someone's bluff. And then you took that definition and applied it to nature. And you're like, okay, poker bluff, that's when you're kind of faking. And if you want to call their bluff, you see through it. What do I see through? I see through wheat. I see through seaweed. Yeah, it makes sense. I got it. I understand your logic.
See?
Yeah. It all makes sense when you get to explain it. As long as you get to explain yourself, you're like, yeah, I totally understand how your brain would think that way. That makes perfect sense.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how jokes work. The more you explain the joke, the funnier it is.
Right. As long as the explanation's funny. You just can't explain it in a boring way.
No, more boring. Boring as possible.
More boring. Yes. Speaking of boring, today's episode is not going to be boring. I'm really excited about this one. This one is I think it's kind of a first. Sometimes we have the guest planned. Sometimes we have all the topics planned. Mm-hmm. Today, we actually had neither. So this afternoon, we were kind of workshopping it. We're trying to figure out, okay, what do we want to make this about? And then a friend of the studio, friend of ours, reached out with an actor question out of the blue. But I was like, that is the perfect topic for discussion on our podcast today. So our entire podcast is going to be to answer an actor, audience member, friend question. We're going to get to it in a minute, but stay tuned. It is a doozy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We should also let you know about how to get involved here. We usually do that. If you want to know how to get involved at Laughing Vikings, you can hit us up at laughingvikings.com/join. And that, as a member, gives you access to studio sessions, Zoom audition sessions, studio rentals for your own Zoom sessions or for your own video and multimedia creation. Also gives you access to our partner program and castings, internal castings, gigs, working as session directors, all kinds of stuff. Plus, you get a bunch of bonuses like your first free audition session, an acting workshop. What else we get? A bunch of bonuses. But go to laughingvikings.com/join. You'll see it all right there, and we can help you out. And what do we do with actors? We help professional actors rehearse and record winning auditions for television, film, commercials, theater. So you can hit us up at the link.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes, you can.
Did they cover everything?
I hope you did.
Right. And the bottom line is, like, if you're like, why would I bother doing that? It's so that you can stop bugging your family and friends for audition help. And you can ditch that audition stress of receiving a breakdown or an audition request for a self-tape from your agent and starting to panic. When am I going to do this? Who am I going to get to help me? Where am I going to shoot it? And you can just join our community. And every time you get one, just hit us up and we got it all taken care of. Oh, you froze, Brandon. Brandon froze. Brandon left the podcast just to go to that website. He got so excited. There he is. Will he be back? Maybe he'll be back.
Who knows?
Oh, there he is. Boom. He's back. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. And while we're talking about the studio, also share this out with your actor friends. We're going to be going through a ton of great tips today. So right now, if you're on the episode live, share this out on Facebook, YouTube Live, Twitch. Of course, you can listen and subscribe on all your podcast platforms, but you can only be here live Mondays every week at 6 p.m. where you get to ask questions in the comments, interact. We'll pull the questions up on the screen here, and you can be a part of the show. But if you want to tag 3 friends and share this out, either a screenshot, we'll send you prizes coming your way. And shout out to Muhammad Junaid, he's an actor and a member here. He recently, last week, we shared a reel, and it was one of these giveaway reels, and he tagged 3 friends and shared it out. So he's got a prize coming his way.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing it. All right. Let's get to the episode here. Very excited. Bring up the question. So earlier today on my phone, right as I was thinking with Brandon, we're like, what are we going to do today? What's the topic of the episode going to be? Then out of the blue, this pops up from the one and only Everett Houston, actor, writer, producer, executive producer, really if you're involved in the Toronto film and TV industry, you probably already know Everett. And he messaged me, he said, what do you think are the most used props and good to have handy? And then I immediately replied, oh, man, that's a great question. That's a great question and a topic for a podcast. We're doing a podcast live today. Why don't you come on and be a guest? We'll interview you and we'll tackle this topic. And he said, I can't. I'm a dad. My life is chaos. I'm doing renovations and I got a son to take care of. So Everett, sorry we couldn't have you today. He's going to be on a future episode. And kudos to you. I feel like maybe you'd be a bad dad and husband if you were like, honey, I can't watch this. I can't watch The Boy today. I got to go do a podcast, and just abandon his renovations / fatherhood duties. But we'll get him on our next show. And I promised him, I'm like, you know, Everett, what we're going to do, we're going to answer your question on the show live today. So what Brandon and I decided to do is we both made our list independently of the top 10 props, what we feel are our top 10 essential props, what we use the most in our self-tape auditions. And then we're also going to talk about top 10 wardrobe pieces and top 10 studio tools / equipment type things. So do you want to get into the first one, top 10 props?
Oh, I'm ready, Lars. Let's do this.
So first of all, I think it's important for us to just discuss. We're talking, this whole conversation is discussing self-tape auditions that you shoot at home in your own studio or at our studio, not going into a casting director workshop or to a casting director's place for an in-person audition. Generally bringing props, unless it was something very minor, is generally a no-no. It's just kind of too much. It gets too complicated. And it's just things that can go wrong. And also a lot of the times when they're shooting you in those auditions, they're shooting you in a nice tight. So you're not even going to see props anyways. But of course, for your own at-home auditions, you can have them. But I think it's also important to remember it can never be about the props. If you're going to use it specifically, use it sparingly. Make sure the prop isn't upstaging you. It should be adding to it, not detracting or distracting. And I think also if you're going to use a prop, I think you should use it specifically. And when I'm using stuff, I'm trying to think rather than the cliche generic way to hold it or use it, I might try and find some special way. Now, again, it all has to serve the text and serve the story and serve the scene, of course. Don't just do random shit just to be random. Although I'm certainly guilty of doing random things just to be random and just to be out there.
We all are.
But that's what I wanted to say about props is generally there's a lot of the props, again, I would never bring into a room here, but I also like to be creative. I like to have fun. I like to create little stories, and I see every audition as an opportunity to be creative and to show them my little piece of the story. So I got a bunch here, and most of these are just the common ones that I've either used in my own auditions or ones that we've helped people here at Laughing Vikings. So I'm going to go through my list. Brandon, we're going to do this kind of Family Feud style. Survey says, and then you tell me if you also had it on your list, and then we'll have a chat about each one. Then we'll move on. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, here we go. First up on the top 10 prop essentials here. Coming at you hard. I don't like these in real life, but everyone loves them in movie and film. That is the gun. Yep. Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to say number one answer, gun. Was gun on your list?
Gun is on my list. It is not number one, though.
It's not number one. And really, none of these are, none of my lists are
not
really
in
ranked.
order. No.
Yeah, these aren't ranked in order of importance. These are just kind of the first 10 that we could think of. Now, a couple things about guns.
Yes.
Again, I would never bring a gun to an in-person thing. I would never travel with a gun if I ever had to travel with a gun. And when I say gun, I'm talking prop guns. I'm not even talking real guns. We have one here at the studio. This actually isn't even mine. This is on loan from Big Time Murder. Shout out to Peter Dillon. We do a lot of murder mysteries. This is just a cap, like a starter pistol here, but it looks like a pretty decent revolver, right? So, and I think that's, if there's a scene where there's a gun in it, I mean, you can just hold your blank hand. You can hold it out of frame. Like you can just do this.
Also hold your phone as well.
Yeah, you can do no gun. Yeah, phone. But even that, it's like, yeah, actually that looks pretty decent. That's kind of futuristic.
Yeah.
Nothing looks better than this. Nothing looks better than right
And
down.
we never point it at somebody. Always point it away from the other person. You don't want to be pointing directly at your reader or anyone else that you're working with.
Correct.
I also have a couple more things I want to talk about this as well. If you are buying it from the dollar store, make sure to keep the packaging. Please keep the packaging so that if you are shooting outside or if someone sees you with it, you have proof that it is a toy gun. I've been in a situation where people thought it was a real gun and the police were called. It was not a pleasant situation.
Right.
Also, before we move on from guns, there is one other thing I want to talk about. Do not bring it out to surprise your audience.
Right.
I know this is something that you want to be surprising as an actor. You do not want to use a gun to surprise somebody else. You do not know if that is a trigger for somebody else. It is a weapon. It is not a toy.
Good point. Yes. And I would suggest don't, like, if you're shooting at home in your own space and you happen to have a prop gun, great. Yeah, use it. Don't travel with them. There's not really any need. It's not worth the risk. Mm-hmm. We're in a day and age where people are getting shot and or tased and or shot and killed, really, for things that aren't even close to guns. Mm-hmm. So
always never keep the package.
Yeah, never take that risk. And really, even if they are prop guns, there's, like, on a proper set, there's a gun wrangler who is trained and licensed to do that. Your point about never, even if it is a prop gun, never point it, never cross an axis of another human being, and just treat it with the respect that you should. But also, it's super cool. And you think about how many scenes in television and movies, we are kind of obsessed with guns in TV and film. So they're kind of cool. But again, not necessarily necessary. You can have one if you want, but you can also just have the moment and have the authority and have the move. Even if I'm standing here, I can just if it's a cop scene and it's like he reaches for his gun, that sells it. I reach for my gun, and then it's good. So again, all of these you can use them. You can. Again, I would never ever bring this anywhere. And please don't show up to Laughing Vikings with your own fake gun. Know that we have one now if you really wanted to use one. But don't travel with it. It's silly. It's not worth the risk.
Yes.
All right. Guns. Anything else?
No, that's it for me on guns.
I have another. I'll show one other thing that we have used. Is I've used a mic stand before where it was like a sniper. It was literally a sniper scene, and it was like the whole scene was him turning dials and just like messing with things, taking it, sighting it. So like this kind of sells as a rifle, and it sells as something. Again, a lot of times you don't need it, but if the whole scene is about that specific prop, then it kind of sells the realism of things. So number 2 on the list is this is a little more simple. Money. Just plain old money. There's a lot of scenes in TV and film, cash register, convenience store. So you can use real money. This happens to be fake stage money. These are all US $100 bills, presumably. But if you look close, they say things like, what does it say here? In goo we trust. This one says. This one says this note is legal tender, but then on the other side it says in goo we trust, and one of them says right on it prop money. This one says prop money literally right on it.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second, I'll be right back here. And hang on.
Yeah.
I'm all blurry. What happened? Here we are. Anyways, working on my, what the fuck is going on here? 1 sec. Stand by. For those who are listening, this does not affect you. There we go. I'm back. All right. Nice. So prop money. Funny story about this prop money. A few years ago, my brother sent this to me on my birthday. I thought it was $300. I didn't look close at it. And even in the card, he was like, P.S. If you need more, feel free to photocopy these. And I didn't even think twice about it. And then I just kind of put them away in a drawer or something. And like a month later, I was going to walk down to the bank to deposit them. And I literally got halfway to the bank and I pulled them out and I was like, wait a second, this is fucking prop money. So you can grab some prop money. Was money on your list?
Money was not on my list.
Money was not on your list. Tina Cobb, she says money was on her list.
Nice.
Right there she is. Tina Cobb, money, 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 money. All right. What's next? Oh, this is a good one. This is one of my favorites. And number 3 on the top 10 prop list survey says Clipboard.
Yes.
Clipboard. So many times the doctor, the nurse, the scientist, the teacher, and it serves as a double purpose. If you got a really big one and you haven't had time to fully get off book, if you got to do a read, you can literally have your script here and you can be like, let me see here. He seems to have, oh, there's my line. Yes, he is going to die.
That's a dark start.
Yes, here it is. 1 week to live. Yes. But obviously, if you're reading something, you want to make sure like your first and last lines, any important lines, you got to have those off the page. But Clipboard comes in handy, and it's just a real natural prop. Was Clipboard on your list?
Yes, it is. It's number 1.
Nice. Ding, 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 ding. All right, number 4 on the list is glasses.
Glasses. Yes.
Now, this is just random. A lot of times, think about how many scenes are restaurant scenes. You're at a cafe, you're at a coffee shop. So maybe you have a coffee mug. But again, I think with all props, be specific. If it's something like this, if it's a celebration, I think about Hallmark movies. We have a ton of auditions here at the studio for Hallmark movies. They're often at a wedding, they're at a celebration, they're at a Christmas celebration. A character is raising a toast, or if it's a bunch of dudes drinking beer, I would just say be specific to whatever it is that you're using. Also, a little bit of a caveat. I got burned on this on the weekend. Is I didn't fully prep ahead of time for my scene in class. And so the morning of, I went out and had to get a wine bottle, but I didn't have, it wasn't a wine bottle. It ended up being like, what do you call it? Pellegrino or something like that, sparkling water. But the bottle was green. So on my green screen, it blended in. So again, be very careful about even glassware. If you're on a green screen, that's actually pretty decent. But sometimes different glassware can react funky. And again, you don't want any of your props distracting or taking away. And if all of a sudden you have a glass that's disappearing and melding into the background and looks like you have this invisible glass, is going to take the people out of your audition. So be mindful of that. You had glasses on yours?
I did. It was coupled with a couple other things. So
okay,
I'll let you keep going, but
okay,
we'll see.
Well, my number 4.5 is glasses. So not only do we mean glasses, but we mean glasses. Now, very rarely do we use these, but certain times, if it's a certain character-y thing, I've got a handful. Everyone loves I find when you don't wear glasses, everyone loves to wear it. Like, look at me, all of a sudden, right? What a nerdy captain I am.
You look so much smarter right now.
And or I got these cool ones. These are like Will Ferrell cool women's shades, or like cool Italian Euro shades. And what else do I got? These ones maybe a little more. I'm a doctor, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a fine gentleman.
So, sir, can you push those back to your eyes again? Sorry.
Oh, wait, 1 second. 1 second. Hang on, like this. And seems to me that.
So just stop right there, Lars. So you see how there's glare, and you can see what's behind Lars. You can see reflections in those eyeglasses. It is very handy to keep the 3D glasses that you get at like the movie theater, punch out the holes. I believe Lars put that on the first time. Yep.
That's literally what these are.
Yeah. And like push out the lenses so that way we don't see what's behind the camera. We don't want to see the lights. We want to have the suspension of disbelief when we're viewing your audition tape.
Right. And a couple other things about glasses is you would probably certainly sunglasses, if you had them on, you would take them off immediately. Like I might start a scene where if I'm like this and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? You know, and even regular glasses, I think, especially if there's any kind of glare, the other danger with glasses is sometimes where they are. Watch when I dip my head. All of a sudden here, you can't see my eyes. They're right in the middle of my eyes. So most times you're not, if you need to have them or the character calls for them, you can have them on. A lot of times too, it's a good idea to slate. If you do actually wear glasses in your real life, slate with them on and then take them off. So this is me with glasses without. But again, be sparing. These are my weird ones. These are like my weird, creepy industrial. But also, that your mention on reflections. See, now in these, you can see the whole studio in my eyes. So that's a little distracting for the auditors. But if I was just starting a scene where I'm on the beach here, that's just like, oh, there you are, Brandon. What's up,
Lars?
That's fair game. But again, the overall lesson is use these things sparingly, and it's only when it's to add a little icing on the cake, little spice. Shouldn't be distracting, shouldn't take away from things. So let's move on to number 5. One of my favorites that gets used a lot.
Headphones. Nice.
Headphones. So I've got cans like this. It could be like AirPods or whatever. These ones like this, I would think of pilot in a pilot scene. DJ or just DJ influencer, like we've had a lot of those. Like this, all of a sudden, this kind of sells it where it's not much, but like now I'm a fucking DJ, right? Look at this, I'm spinning like crazy right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm
Captain DJ over here.
I'm a fighter. Yeah. What's up, Captain DJ? No wonder his plane crashed or his boat crashed. He was the captain / DJ. Hey, shouldn't you be?
Shouldn't you be steering the ship?
Shouldn't you be steering this thing? No, man, I'm the DJ from 10 till 12. You got anything you want to request? What's that? You want some Tiesto?
Well, I'd like us to avoid the iceberg, sir. Captain?
I think that's how I think that's, if you read in the Titanic book or watch the movie really closely, that's what happened. The captain was also the DJ at the fancy party. But he was spinning old records, or he was cranking one of those music machines. Right. All right. So that was number 5 was headphones. Number 6, this comes up a lot right here. Just classic, nothing fancy.
Dish rag, nice.
Just a classic dish rag. And where this comes from, so many scenes we see are waiters, waitresses, cafe people, and a lot of these, again, this one wouldn't be the one to use, obviously. A lot of times you're not on a green screen backdrop. I happen to be on a green screen backdrop. But yeah, just something there. And a lot of these props as well can be just moment before or moment after. Again, very rarely is a script or an audition scene going to be like, oh, I definitely need this. But this, if it's a waiter scene, or you're working at even if it's like a dirtier rag or something, maybe you're a mechanic or you're working in a shop. So it can just be here at the beginning of the scene. You wipe a couple things down, or the classic waiter waitress move is just like, oh yeah, what's up? What can I get you? You know, like just to start off the scene, but then put it away. Like the whole thing doesn't need. You don't need, like the audition isn't how can you polish glasses, but it's something that comes up all the time, and it's a little hack, little tip, little trick. It makes people feel comfortable too. A lot of times that secondary action just kind of eases you into things. What do we got? That was number 6. Number 7. Oh, did you have that on the list?
I did not. I didn't have headphones or dish rag.
But you had the rag there. Nice.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That's laundry.
Number 7. simple one, the classic cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of life's necessities, and it's in TV and film all the time for calls, or just someone's waiting for the bus and they're boop, 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 or hang on one sec. Just got a message. Oh shit, who's that? Oh no, my mom's dead. What? So all kinds of things like that, good old cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, like you said, works as a gun too.
Yep.
If you hold it the right way. Freeze.
Stop.
Did you have cell phone on your list?
I did not. It's actually on a different list.
Okay. You had it on your tool list. Number 8, just something simple like a bag or a purse. Ladies having a purse, handbag. Maybe it's a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
It depends if it's, again, all of this stuff is only if the scene calls for it, only if it would ever add to it. But maybe it's a scene at a cash register desk, and you're female, you take your purse off and you're looking through your change purse and you're finding the thing that you need. Just kind of gets you in it and sells you on the location as well, to place instantly too. This is one of my favorites here. This is my army backpack.
Nice.
Yeah. And what was that? That was number 8. Number 9 is a microphone.
Nice.
A microphone that has often come up. We got a bunch here at the studio. Sometimes you're giving the big speech to the press because you're a politician. Sometimes you're at the wedding and you're giving the best man speech. Sometimes you're the rock star and you're at a concert, right? Or you're Bruce Banner and you're doing the Bruce Buffer. What's his name? Not Bruce Banner. Bruce Buffer. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The UFC fights when the thing comes down. Ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling as a kid.
Oh, well.
I got too riled up.
Microphone. That's Microphone is number 9.
They're essential.
And number 10, this is one of my favorites, and we got some shout outs here. Number 10 is random piece of equipment. So many things, especially in sci-fi auditions, some space auditions, or you're just like guy in a garage. And often this stuff, you got to look at what you're mostly cast in, your character. So if you're a repairman, you're a mechanic, you're a guy at a like an electronic shop. So just something simple like this is just a tripod. And again, I would just use this off the beginning of the scene. If I'm like working on this thing, it's like the scene opens like Jimmy's working in his dark, dank electronic shop, and then so-and-so approaches. I can be working on this, and then, oh yeah, what can I do to help you? And this is just some random thing, or the other, this is an SD card reader. I like things with tech and wires, like just little random wires. You could just be like your dad in your garage. I'm saying space, but it can be simple things. You're the dad in the garage, or you're literally like the computer repairman, and just having these little knickknacks just to kind of sell it a little bit off the top. So that was my list. I do have a couple honorable mentions here. Music instruments, especially if you're a musician and you play a musical instrument. Maybe the scene doesn't specifically call for it, but maybe it's a campfire scene and you happen to play the guitar. Maybe your moment before is the last 3 chords of a song, and maybe you also can sing, so you belt out something, and then that leads you into the scene. So whatever musician, and that's a way for you to share things and share your talents. Same things with sports equipment. If it's just general, like guys at a gym or guys at school or out on the playground or whatever, and you're a tennis player or you're a baseball player, you could have your glove, or you could have the tennis racket, or random things like that. Also, we use this one, honorable mention, little stage blood, fake blood. Again, I would never ever bring this to a live audition, but we had someone in here this week. At the beginning of the audition, they had it palmed. They had a little bit of blood, and in a fight, they ducked out of frame, came back up, and were covered in blood. Actually, it was a kind of a zombie themed thing, and it looked amazing. And kudos to him for having the creativity to do that. Another honorable mention is a stethoscope. that pretty much sells you're a doctor, even if you don't ever use it. That's kind of the classic. It's a little cliche, and some of the things are a little cliche, so I wouldn't overuse them. Also, the other thing that I love and is very simple to sell a character is a lanyard or an ID badge. Like, just go to Staples and get your own face and just random like Globotech and an ID badge number, and then put it on. So it's your face and you're the guy, and then you instantly look like a security guard or a lab tech or an engineer or a person in the press, a reporter. So that is my list. Top 10 props. Now, which ones did you have that didn't land on mine? And by the way, whether you're listening or watching live, type in the comments, share what you think of our list. What did we miss? What would you add? What are your favorite go-tos? And feel free to add any of these caveats. Again, you want to be using these props properly and carefully, and not detracting from your performances. So what do you got, Brandon?
So Tina actually had one of mine, which she says, did I miss a broom? Feel like it's a classic. I did have broom on my list. I think it is one of a very important prop to have. You can play with it off the top. You can just use it. Really, I think it's a great effective prop to have. I also have a blanket or pillow, which I also think is great. You can use a blanket as a cape. You can use a blanket to cover yourself up. You can use a blanket to do several different things as well. And a pillow, I feel like that's self-explanatory. You can hit people with it. You can use it to feel comfortable. You can use it for a lot of things as well. Pen or pencil. It's important to have a pen or pencil. I know sometimes I feel a lot better if I'm just holding a pen or pencil in my hand, just because it makes me feel more grounded and in the scene.
Right.
Also, garbage can.
I'll throw one in with pencil too. Notepad too. A lot of times cops, waiters, waitresses, they always have these too. So these are a good one. Kind of goes along with clipboard and pens.
So garbage can, I've used that as a basketball hoop. I have used it at the beginning of a scene. Someone's coming in, they're cleaning up garbage. They're just picking up stuff. It's great. Garbage can. It also is great as a tool as well if you want to prop up something, or like prop up your laptop or prop up your phone. That's also an important tool to have as well. And then I also have books. A book, preferably something with a plain cover, so that it doesn't, again, distract from what you're doing. Just like a plain black book. A Bible works as well if it doesn't say Bible on it.
And if it is something specific, I also like using something specific, but it's got to fit to the character and not take away. So if you're just throwing something funny up there that's random, is going to take their attention away. But if it's something that the character would be reading and totally makes sense, or is the actual book, or sometimes a little Easter eggy thing where it's kind of like wink, wink. This is a smart actor. He's connected. But again, you got to be smart about some of this stuff and not overuse it. And we should also say too, you can do amazing auditions with zero props, and a lot of people would tell you to do so as well. So it's depending, and also depending on your frame. In medium close framing, most of this you're not gonna be seeing props. Even if I'm doing stuff out of frame, you would never see it. So for the purpose of audition, you don't need to. But
and I'm not sure if we've actually talked about this yet or not. There's a tool that Lars and I like to use, which is called the invisible countertop. It was taught to us by a teacher by the name of Lynn Cormack. She does a Nailing the Small Roles class, which I think is almost essential as a working actor. I think she's a fantastic teacher. But what she talks about is the invisible countertop. So we see the frame I have right here. It is a medium close. If I'm going to reach for something, I'm still actively reaching for something. You're not seeing my hand. You're not seeing what I'm grabbing, but you're still seeing that I'm doing something. You still see that I'm trying to do something that's going on here. I'm moving all around.
Right.
But it's a suspension of disbelief that we don't see what's going on that makes it believable. Sorry, you were saying, Lars?
I was going to say that whole like the cafe staff person, waiter, waitress, all of that wouldn't need any props. It's like it's just literally doing what I'm doing right now, just as I'm wiping the counter, right? Like that. That all sells it. And better to do if you're going to mime stuff, mime it out of frame. It's if I'm up here and I'm doing this, that's kind of like what the fuck is even happening here? It can be jarring or just weird. So, but mime stuff out of frame is great. So
before we end, I do have one more, which I'm not sure if it'll count, but I do have chairs and tables.
That's all. Oh yeah, I guess it kind of counts. I left all of that stuff in our tools.
That's fair. There are some things I had in my tools that you've said already in props. So like that makes sense that we have some overlap. All
right. So we'll move on to wardrobe. We want to expand. That was props. We'll go to wardrobe. And if we see Theodorus answered a question, we'll save that question to the end. We'll answer that. But these are some top 10 wardrobe essentials that you might use. I think the general note with wardrobe is in our class, Tom Todoroff always says your wardrobe, your background, and your lighting speaks before you. So be thoughtful about that. Also be specific to the character, specific to the scene. But you only need like hints of it. If it's something, maybe I'll answer this question right now off the top. Theodora says, to fit a certain period in history, say the late 1800s, how would you approach finding the right clothing style props? You're not going to dress in a full garb of suit of armor, but back then they didn't have as many colors. So maybe you have just a brown, like it's going to be earth tones, maybe black, maybe a plain black, maybe layered type things. Props, it's probably all wood, or maybe it's either wood or metal. It's not going to be anything fancy. Like plastic or nothing digital or with like electricity.
It's also good to do a quick Google search just in case. Like for the late 1800s, I believe that was a Georgian period of time, and I believe most men wore heels at that point in time as well.
I mean, it's going to totally depend on where, like late 1800s in different parts in the world, people were wearing different things, and people are still wearing grass loincloths in some parts of the world today in 2020. So I think it's do some research. But again, in an audition, like when you book it, that's what wardrobe's department is for. Professionals hired, and they do all the research, and they have the exact things that people wore, right down to what buttons and what kind of lace was used and what thread count and all that kind of stuff. But I think in an audition, you're just hinting towards it, and you're sort of adding to the imagination. And if you don't do that, if it calls for 1800s and you're wearing a Nike logo or a football jersey or something, it instantly takes you out of that. So I think you have to be mindful of it. But again, it's shades of things. So here's my top 10 list of things that I've used the most common. Number 1, scrubs. I've got just a basic pair of scrubs. Doctors, nurses, orderlies, even security staff. You think about how many shows are hospital related. So I think that having even if it's just the top, a lot of times you don't see your bottom half, but just the scrub top is something that you'll use over and over and over again, and it instantly sells that. And if you want to get real fancy, you could the top and then the lanyard or little ID that you've got if you really wanted to go for it. Did you have scrubs on yours?
Nope.
Ooh, all right. Second is a lab coat. Yes, this one gets used often. Again, scientist, lab coat, could be medical, could be doctor, could be nuclear scientist, could be just your friendly neighborhood Hakeem guy, could be a butcher, could be a lot of things, right? But we've got one of these here at Laughing Vikings, and we ended up using it a ton. Did you have lab coat?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. All right. Ding, 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 ding. Number 3 for me was suit.
Yep.
And again, this is most of my list is tailored to males. Females, you'll have your equivalent. I'm sure, obviously, business power suit for women, something business professional. Bonus point if you got a tux, If it's a Hallmark, again, I wouldn't wear a tux to an in-person audition necessarily, but if it was a Hallmark movie and I was the groom and it was my wedding, the difference between me wearing a tux versus a generic suit is very, very specific. So I'd probably lean towards the tux. Number 4, did you have tux or suit?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had a ball gown for a woman.
Right.
So like, there's a difference between a dress and like prom and like a black tie event.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah. If it's a black tie, corporate affair, gala affair, you're not going to show up in a tracksuit or in Lululemon pants. It's like, yeah, you don't need to be like ridiculous. You don't need to look like the queen necessarily, but you want to show hints of it. Number 4, I just generically have written blue collar. And I mean that blue collar, like a blue collar uniform, something that's just maybe like a Dickies shirt or like a blue. It's probably a blue or a gray or a green button-up shirt. Or it could even be a golf shirt. So you're a worker at a convenience store. You're the hydro guy. You're the garbage man. You're a park ranger, maybe delivery guy. Delivery guy is pretty common. So just having something that just sells the blue collar feel. I think. Did you have something like that?
Similar.
I had pajamas and or like a robe, something like night clothes. If female, it might be like some kind of nightie or you're over. I don't necessarily mean lingerie, but like sometimes like a
onesie works for both.
Yeah, right? Onesie, something cute, something fun, like or those like a big oversized t-shirt, something like that. Number 6, I got gym wear, fitness wear. Nice. So ladies, that might be like the Lululemon look. Could be track suit. Could be like fit active wear. Like what do you call it? Like that. Like what's it? What's the name of that company?
Under Armour.
Yeah, Under Armour. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Under Armour. Under Armour is also great for space type things, like something like Star Trek or something in the future where you're like wear their uniforms, but you want to have that little space look, like something tight and form fitting is a good option. Number 7, I've just called this generic authority uniform. This is more white collar. So could be something that passes for a cop. Doesn't need to be a full cop. Could be a security guard. Probably literally a white collared shirt. Could be something black, but security guard, collared, police officer, bailiff, that kind of thing. Like, and again, it only has the hints to it. Could literally just be a plain white dress shirt with a black tie, and that sells you as a security guard or a cop or a detective. You don't need to have full badges and everything. If you want to throw that on, then great, so be it. But you don't necessarily need any of that stuff. Did you have that one?
No. All
right. Oh, I'm excited to see what's on yours. 8, I just got generic leather on here. Just leather, because nothing. Leather is bold. It's badass. It doesn't matter whether you're a guy or a girl. Like you walk out in a badass leather suit, like you're Catwoman, or just a cool leather jacket, and all of a sudden you're a biker. There's something about a leather jacket that's timeless, that's classic. Bonus points I'd probably put in the same category. A leather or a jean jacket probably goes in the same thing. I think that's just a kind of a universal piece of clothing to have in your wardrobe where you're instantly transformed. You look like a biker. You look like you're in a gang. You look like you're a cool guy. It's amazing how leather does that. Right? And
so many wonderful things.
Right? Number 9 here is something Xmas. How many Hallmark movies have we auditioned people for? It's like it seems like it's always Christmas. We're shooting Hallmark Christmas movies around the clock, 12 months a year. So I have a little go-to. I mean, red's obviously great. Could be your favorite ugly sweater. My go-to, I'll show you here. I've got my my classic Bad Santa here.
Nice.
That's mine, and it's very specific. It's very unique. If the character is a little cheeky, and then I got this one here too. This is a nice little.
Nice.
This is my little Christmas hat. Again, you got to watch with green. I'm on a green screen, and so the green leaves on this hat are showing through here, so it's a little funky, but you got to watch that out. But Christmas, just a little hint of Christmas, you know? You can have, even if it's just a little Christmas, like, brooch or a Christmas pin or something like that, or maybe you have your favorite Christmas earrings, the little candy cane earrings. I think if the scene calls for it, that makes sense. And number 10 for me was, I think I actually dropped the card somewhere. I don't know where it is, but number 10 for me was sports fan. So just kind of generic sports fan. Here I've got this is actually a Denver Broncos jersey. Just ugly orange. So anytime I got to be like loudmouth sports fan kind of guy, just like, yeah, go sports, right? And then and then you sell it. Yeah, there we go. So that's my top 10 wardrobe essentials. Again, this is by no means the exhaustive list. These are the ones that I probably use most common and or easy to grab. Dollarama and or like places like Value Village. I don't know how many times I've had an audition. I didn't really feel like I had quite the right thing, and I just thought of something, and then I went to Value Village or Dollarama, and there's the perfect thing right there, even if it was just a plain white t-shirt. So let's hear your list. What did I miss?
Okay, so you had three of the things on my list. So I have a non-white dress shirt. Try and have some different colors. I think it's important. I think white just doesn't really play all that well. And have like a sundress or some sort of dress that makes you feel empowered or makes you feel particularly beautiful. Right. I think it's important that your wardrobe makes you feel confident and makes you feel empowered to do the work. I think that's also an important thing to have.
Also, white often is too bright on camera and will kind of blow out on camera. So
thank you.
And we should mention too, white and or certain patterns. Sometimes certain patterns, especially tight X's or anything lines, the camera will do this funky thing where all of a sudden it looks like you're being like hypnotized. So that can be a little distracting. So really watch with patterns, or certain dress shirts that are checked will do that as well. So I think the note is usually solid colors, non-logos, nothing that's like too distracting, you know.
Next on my list is a black t-shirt that goes for all sexes. I think a black t-shirt is essential because it is, one, slimming, two, it's so neutral that it doesn't matter what you're playing at, or it doesn't matter what scene you're doing, it will most likely work.
Right.
It's just a very neutral thing to have.
Right. It's classic actor uniform. Jeans, like when in doubt, jeans and a black t-shirt, and you're probably
next one is jeans.
Like, this guy looks like an actor. Jeans. Yeah.
My next one is jeans. So that's a perfect segue into it. So jean shorts, long jean denim pants, anything jeans will work. Most of the time, again, like we're usually shooting in a medium close, so you don't really get to see it. But again, if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel more in the character, I think it's important to have.
Jean shorts are also hilarious too, by the way. Jean shorts are hilarious. So if you want to save your jean shorts just for the slate, so your whole scene's up here and then just in the slate, you're magically wearing jean shorts with the white pockets hanging out of the bottom of them. Yeah.
Safari shorts. I didn't know what to call these, but safari shorts. Just any regular pair of shorts, preferably plain. It doesn't really matter what color, but like I think shorts are just great to have because I think they're very fun.
Interesting.
It's very like parent on vacation kind of look. Sorry.
Right. I never would have thought of shorts because they were rarely in an audition scene on camera. So I always think top. I think in terms of top half, I do think shoes a lot because there's something about like you can't. It's very hard. You can't be like this big tough guy and then you're wearing like penny loafers or something. Yeah, or like Uggs or like Crocs or something like that. So I think the shoes are important even if they're never seen.
Shoes, you have the perfect segues, Lars. Shoes are the next thing on my list as well. Right. I always tell the story of when I was doing a production of Tartuffe where I played Tartuffe and they gave me these like snake looking boots where they had the curl at the top and like it just like wound down.
Right.
Oh, they were just nothing gets me into a character more than shoes. I don't know why. That's just me.
You weren't Tartuffe until you put those shoes on.
Oh my god, those shoes.
Great.
I wish I stole those shoes.
All right, what else?
The next one for me, number 9, is hoodie. I think a plain hoodie is very important to have. It's great to show that you're either a stoner or that you are cold or
it's versatile.
It's very versatile.
Yeah, you cool reveals with hoodies too. You can do stuff where like you have it and then turn and then you reveal at the end of a scene. You can pop it on like you're gonna be all incognito. Yeah, versatile. I mean, and isn't it funny how all like anything in acting, almost all the principles in acting also apply in your real life and vice versa. So it's like all these things. It's like really what are the essential items in your life? Now I went a little different way. I went specific character types, whereas your list is interesting. I sort of thought of it that way, but your list is more what are just the most not generic, but the most like I don't even know what's the word.
Well, because I like to think of it as like
versatile, I guess is the word.
Pulling things out of your closet. Like if I was to pull something out of my closet right now, like safari shorts per se, like you want to have those. Like you will have something along those lines if you have it in your closet, kind of thing. Right. Like I like to think in that kind of way.
Right. Yeah. So again, think in sort of general roles, but also you got to look specific to you. What are the roles you are typed to like generally or put out for? What do you want to play for? Who do you want to show up as? Often the fun in this is you get to create the character. You are the character. So maybe none of this is mentioned and you're just a creative person that likes to be very specific about your wardrobe. Then you show up and they're like, fuck, who the fuck was that guy? Like he really went for it. Like if sometimes little things like people will paint their nails a certain way or be specific with little Julia. That's non-distracting, but just enough to stand out and add something that's very specific without being distracting or taking away from things.
And my final one on this list is a hat. And it, again, doesn't matter which kind of hat. A baseball cap works. A captain's hat works. A variety of several different types of hats are.
I would put a big asterisk next to captain's hat. Like this is pretty fucking specific right here. So
you do have to earn your captain's hat.
Yeah, I would not wear a captain's hat in every audition just to be like, yeah, I just thought I was wearing a hat. I'd be just wearing a hat here because otherwise, then it's just like, why is he wearing a captain's hat?
I do say this with an asterisk of don't show up to a callback or a live audition with the hat on. They just prefer that you don't wear the hat. Like, so if you wear it in your like initial self-tape, that's fine. But like if they do call you in for an in-person audition or if they ask you to do a Zoom callback, preferably don't wear the hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say most places that I've ever been in person, if you did have a hat, they ask you to lose it right away. Like they want to see most of you, right? So if you're seeing stuff that, or if you're covering your head and your hair, they're not seeing your hair and your head. So yes. So moving on, we're going to move to our final category. So we did top 10 props. We did top 10 wardrobe essentials. We've got a separate category that's a little blurred with props, but the separate category is top 10 studio tools and or equipment / resources. And all of these, this was very simple for me because I just went around the studio, saw what we have, and figured out what we use on a regular basis in our audition sessions. So real fancy right off the top, classic television and movie piece of equipment here. Good old reliable tape.
Yes.
Just classic tape. Now, what kind of tape? The more tape, the better. If you've ever been on a movie or TV film set, there's a guy, usually multiple people, guy or girl.
Yep.
There's multiple people walking around with giant pieces of rope, with giant pieces of tape, and every different kind of tape possible. So we like multiple colored. Now there's different ways you can use this. Multiple colored tape. These are great for eye lines.
Yes.
And the color can help you keep track. You'd be like, okay, Tom's blue, Mary's yellow, and the dog over there is green. So it's great for eye lines. Obviously, eye lines are going to be mostly close to camera. So often we're literally putting the piece of tape on camera right next to the lens, and then the other one on the other side right next to the lens, and then maybe one halfway down the tripod to represent the little kid or the ground or whatever. Also, it's always good to have some duct tape around. We got Scotch tape. We got masking tape. Who needs tape? You buy and you sell, and we got all kinds of tape. Television and movie people love tape, so we got it. It is a studio essential. Also great for taping if you happen to not be fully off book and you need to have some of the lines. You can maybe tape a script. In an emergency, of course, ideally you're well prepped and the script is in you and not outside of you. But in a pinch, tape will come in handy. You had tape?
We got it.
You got it. You got it. Number 2. Another real fancy one. We're hitting you with the big ones here. Number 2 is clips.
Ooh.
Just good old generic Dollarama clips. These things right here. They're very versatile. Could be clipping props. You'd be clipping wardrobe. We use them mostly for backdrops, but they're very versatile. So go to the dollar store, get some clips, mainly for your backdrops. But it's just, I can't talk enough about clips. It's one of those things, like a Swiss Army knife. Although Swiss Army knife is not on my list. Did you have clips?
I did not.
You didn't have clips.
That was a great one.
Number 3 is music
stand.
Now, music stand. We got a couple of them here at Laughing Vikings.
Yep.
This is a great little hack. You can use it to keep props on here. You can use it again for scripts, for lines. We've used it for lots. Sometimes we'll just use it as something to grab on out of frame, almost like if for a driving scene, just having something to grab on, like it's the steering wheel in front of you, is a nice little trick hack. You can set your laptop on it, or not your laptop, a little iPad or something like that for lines too. Did you have that one?
I did not.
No. All right. Number 4. Whiteboard, classic whiteboard. We got the whiteboard in the studio here. We use it for motivational quotes to pump ourselves up, but also if you needed to write some lines, or maybe there's just a name, something that's stuck, or some weird acronym, or maybe there's a phone number in the script. Never hurts to have a backup there. Again, ideally you've done all your prep and you know all this stuff and you don't need to cheat. But if you do need to cheat, these are the little hacks and tips that occasionally you're in a pinch and they can be lifesavers. So I had whiteboard. Did you have whiteboard?
I did have whiteboard.
Yeah.
But we were talking before we started airing the show, and I said I didn't have a 10th for essential tools. And Lars was like, well, you need to write one down. Write it down quick. Right. And whiteboard was the thing I wrote.
Good old whiteboard. Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, they're great. Can't talk about them enough. Can't talk about enough. I think 3M. I think the 3M is getting a plug between all the tape and the whiteboards and stuff. Number 5 for me, another classic, just the basic power bar. You don't know how many times you need to have your lights plugged in, not the food power bar. You're like, why would I need to eat a power bar?
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
For your energy. No, just making sure you have enough electrical outlets, whether it's for your iPad, whether it's for your phone, whether it's for lights, just a good old power bar.
That's great.
Sometimes you're like, I have no power, and where do I need to plug in my phone? So power bar's got to be on there. Leads me to number 6, which is batteries. I'm talking camera batteries. Maybe you just use your phone. In that case, you probably have your phone plugged in. If you're using any kind of handy camcorder that has external batteries, have batteries and have extra batteries. We've always got an extra battery so that we got one in the camera and there's always one fully charged.
Yeah.
And that goes for all of your battery power stuff, for your laptop and chargers. And even that power bar goes to, if you're doing a Zoom callback or a Zoom audition, all your tech, you got to make sure you have it all on lockdown and nothing's going to go wrong. So having backups to backups to backups is always a good idea. As number 7 is backup SD cards. Again, maybe you're shooting on your phone. You don't need to worry about that if you got internal memory, but our camera will use SD cards still. So always have backup SD cards or backup storage. If you're a cell phone person, make sure you got plenty of storage. If you're doing it over Zoom at the end of a Zoom session and your laptop's going to render it, you got to make sure you have storage on your laptop to render the files. So check that out. Number 8, folding chairs. We connected there. Now, when I first started Laughing Vikings, a lot of this stuff I would just go to Kijiji or Craigslist, and I think I bought a dozen folding chairs like this for $10 each, and just drove like off Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or whatever. But they come in handy, and you can set props on them. You can smash them over people's head like you're a wrestler. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Yes. Number 9 for me was backdrops. Now backdrops, the generic sort of general ones are the photography style ones, bluish, grayish. Sometimes people have white ones. We have black, green screen, blue screen. Here at Laughing Vikings, we've got pretty much everything. I'm in front of a green screen. We've got the traditional photography ones, the blue ones.
Yep.
I've got white, we got black, we got blue. I think I've got a what's that color? Mauve. I think we have a mauve one here somewhere. So it's a good idea to have extra backdrops. Maybe you want to switch it up. Figure out the thing that works best with your skin tone as well. I think different skin tones obviously have different contrasts with backdrops. So figure the one that works out best for you. Green screen, super versatile, but you got to make sure that you're doing it properly. And there are certain casting directors that specifically say no virtual backdrops, no green screen backdrops. So be specific to those people too, if they have their own personal do's and don't list. And number 10, maybe my favorite here. Number 10, this is a godsend. My favorite thing ever, a laptop stand. Now I'm going to show everyone here what we're talking about. The laptop, the camera, my webcam is on my laptop on another one of these. We have 2 of these in the studio here. And right now it's holding props. So you can put your laptop on it. You can put the camera on it. You can put a bunch of props on it just so if you want to have that imaginary tabletop out of frame. But again, you don't need the tabletop. You can just fake it all. But this one in particular, maybe we'll link up to this one. This is the best thing that I ever found. The top part here is fully adjustable. So it goes like that. It's fully extendable. It goes up to, I think it goes up to 5 feet tall, which then when you open a laptop adds another foot. So basically you can have your camera at eye level and everywhere in between, whether you're seated, standing. And it's literally been, this thing right here was, I think it's $75 on Amazon. And it's by far the most used thing in our studio. And I use it probably 10 different ways every single week.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
fantastic.
Never in my life did I think I would talk this much about a laptop stand, but it's fully extendable. And I've recommended this to a few people who've gone out and grabbed them for their own home studio. It's great. If your camera is especially laptop based, it's perfect for that. And I would get 2. So you got one for the camera and then one for props or extra stuff as a tabletop.
And on top of that, if you don't have a laptop stand, you can use a dresser with books or board games. I'm using board games right now to prop up my computer.
Right.
So like there is a backup plan for what we're saying right now, but a laptop stand is fantastic, and I don't want to take away from that. But if you do need something in a pinch, a dresser with board games or books, preferably hardcover copy books, are effective as well.
Right. Yeah. And like all this stuff, there's the no low budget and then there's the max budget. You could have a $20,000 camera, or you can have the camera that's in your phone, and both of them will suffice for an audition. The one thing that I would say though is, if you're in this professionally and you're in this for the long haul, the sooner you commit and sooner you invest in professional equipment, especially for your home studio. Because the one caveat to, and I've been there too, where I'm stacking boxes, like where I've done them this year, where before I had these stands, it was another adjustable table with boxes, with a garbage can, with a couple books, and then my laptop. But that's a pain in the ass to set up every time. It's a pain in the ass to tear down.
Yes.
It's a little more precarious than a proper stand or a proper tripod or things like that. So just really take the time. And if you want to see yourself as a professional, one of the things we all, I believe, in this day and age we should have our own professional home studios. Or if you don't have a professional home studio, you have a place like Laughing Vikings to come and do them all regularly. Or ideally, you have a hybrid of both. You have your own home studio when you're in a pinch, and you have somewhere else that you go when you need to, and you have time and you need some extra help.
Yes. So the things I have on my list that you didn't have are lights. Lights.
Right.
If you are not seen, and if you have shadows behind you or on your face, it is incredibly distracting. Try and eliminate shadows as much as humanly possible. Invest in lights.
Right.
Lights are the most important thing, in my opinion. Do you want to expand on that at all?
Well, I mean, if casting can't see you or hear you, and they both speak before you do, so if your lighting is shit and you look less than professional, even if it's a great performance, the first impression you give is someone who's an amateur.
Yeah. And even if it's just something like this, where it's just like a small circle light, like those are great to have handy.
Right. And when in doubt, natural light, if you have a nice big bay window, it's not, especially if it's not direct light, like if you're in direct sunlight, that's not going to look good. And the other caveat is, beware of light behind you. Don't ever shoot with a window behind you, because then the contrast, that's going to blow out and you're just going to be in shadow. But yeah, you got to be seen, and you got to look professional. So you got to think the stakes are so high with all of this stuff. You're auditioning for these multi-million-dollar productions. The competition is fierce.
Yes.
People have spent their whole life training and prepping for these opportunities. So every little thing you can do to raise the professionalism of your own auditions and to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. Yeah, maybe right now you don't have the money to put lights, so make sure you have good lighting, make sure you don't have shadow, make sure you don't have a window behind you. But then the first opportunity you have, go out, grab a backdrop, go grab some lights, upgrade it so that when people start to see your auditions, there's nothing that detracts, and the first impression is, oh shit, professional studio, meaning I'm dealing with a professional. And I would say that it's like some of that stuff, even if you are an amateur, if you look professional, that kind of, now your performance is going to speak for itself once you start talking and once you start performing. So it's like, you're not going to book a gig because you have a cool studio if you don't have the craft and the chops and a great performance to back it up. But you could have a great performance and your shitty lighting and your shitty backdrop and your bad sound all tells casting, oh, this isn't going to be a good one. And then they just click to the next one. They don't even watch the performance. So just be mindful of that stuff. Raise the bar and raise your level of professionalism. Or come see us at Laughing Vikings, and we got it all taken care of for you.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got?
One I have, I think this will be the last one I say, is editing software. Now, most of the time, if you have like a Mac, iMovie comes with the Mac, but you can also find editing tools on phone apps. I believe Clips is a phone app that is free, I believe, that you can use on your phone. If you're filming something on your phone, you can cut something together, so that way you can paste your clip from the scene and then your slate at the end kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're using cell phone, InShot is another app, but literally like the tech stuff, Google is like,
Yes.
the answer is Google. Ask a
Yeah.
question, Google. Like anything you need to learn, Google it. That'll bring up a YouTube video. Watch the YouTube video, make a decision, get the light, get the software, do whatever you need to do. But just the answers are out there. So, yeah. So that's the top 10
That's
list.
it.
Is that it?
Yeah, those are all 3 top 10s.
Took us a while. Yeah, we did go a little deep dive into some of those props, but those are the top 10 lists. Maybe in the descriptions, in the episode descriptions, we'll link those up so you can see them short form, or you can take some screenshots of those. But yes, top 10 props, top 10 wardrobe pieces, top 10 studio tools. Be sure to let us know. Shoot us a DM, shoot us a message or an email. Let us know what you thought of the list. Let us know what you would add to it. And let us know your thoughts. Be sure to share this episode out with 3 actor friends and tag us, and we'll send you some prizes. And if you want to join us at Laughing Vikings, hit up laughingvikings.com/join, and you can become a member of our community and have access to all of our studio resources, all of our audition sessions, voiceover, podcasting. There's a bunch of bonuses when you join right now, including a first free session, free acting class, $150 off a Wicked Tree demo reel, and a workout pass with 30-minute daily. So go do all those things. Yeah.
And remember to tune in next week, Monday, May 24th, as we go live at 6 p.m.
Yes. Stay tuned for the guest announcement.
Yes.
And if you've got more questions, thank you again to Everett Houston for sending in this question today. We're going to have him on a future show. But if you ever have any actor questions, or you've got a topic for a show and you're like, I want those guys to go deep dive on XYZ topic. Last week it was vampires and zombies. This week it was props, wardrobe, and studio tools. Maybe next week we can be talking about the thing that you want us to talk about. So
Dragons. Let's talk about dragons.
All right. Deep dive in dragons is being added to the list. Maybe not next week, though. No promises. But at some point, we will discuss dragons.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic week. We love you all, and enjoy.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Goodbye.